Hi everyone, I'm here today to review The Woman at 72 Derry Lane by Carmel Harrington, and I received this book from the publisher via NetGalley. So first of all, I just want to say that if you were to look at the cover alone, you would think, oh, typical women's fiction. Okay, that's not my cup of tea. Click away, go away from the video and think, not interested. But I want to say quickly, this book is so much more than that, so if you think you might be even slightly intrigued, don't go away. So this book is set in Dublin, and the reader follows multiple perspectives. You have got the perspective of an older woman who won't go outside. You have got the perspective of the woman that lives next door to her, who is with the most abusive, terrible man you could imagine. And then there's a third perspective that's introduced later on that I don't want to say anything about. But that is part of a really major part of the book later on, and really makes for some wonderful, fantastic reading, and is probably partly why I enjoyed this book so much. So yeah, back to the original first two women. You have got Stella, who is living with a really abusive man. He is terrible. He's emotionally abusing her, physically very badly abusing her, and on multiple occasions the woman next door hears this abuse through the walls, and she really doesn't know what to do about it. She's too scared to go out of her own home and do anything about it, but at the same time, she lives on her own. There's nothing she can really do. So all she ever does is just ring the police, who always get fobbed off and end up just having to leave because Stella never stands up for herself and just lets the man get away with it, basically. So Ria, the woman who won't go outside, meanwhile has demons of her own. And she's really lonely, and a lot of the street think of her as some sort of just crazy old lady who doesn't come out of her house and doesn't have anything to do with anyone. And it's really quite sad, because I remember when I was younger having those sort of thoughts about people, and now I'm thinking that was really judgmental as a child. You don't know any better, but then there's adults on this street as well that are again going, oh yeah, crazy lady. It's really sad. And this book is really sad in places, but don't go thinking that it's just a massive tearjerker. I mean, it is. I cried my eyes out during this book. A lot of people have, who got review copies of this back in the day were sent, the physical book with a box of tissues. So you might need tissues. This one can and may make you cry. It made me ugly cry at 3:30 in the morning. And basically, Ria she's so lonely, and Stella's so lonely in a different way. She's got this amazing lifestyle. Everyone's so jealous of this amazing husband she's got, who's really good looking. But people don't know what goes on behind closed doors. As ever, you never know. And so things are definitely not as they seem for both of these ladies. And by complete chance, they end up meeting as Stella has to go around to take a package round to Ria. And from there, they slowly and cautiously develop a friendship and help each other through each other's problems. And this was just so beautiful, such a journey, so nerve-wracking, because I was often worried about what would happen to Stella. Would she get caught out by her husband? And that was just something that was constantly on my mind. I just couldn't switch off from worrying about her. I must say, I absolutely adored this book. The characters were just so easy to fall in love with, so easy to want to help and to care about. In the case of Stella, I just wanted to be like, get away from him, get away, come on, I'll take you in. It felt so real, and I was just gripped, quite frankly. I don't suffer with agoraphobia, never have, so I can't comment on how accurately that is sort of portrayed in the book, but I feel like, from my perspective, the author did a fantastic job. So again, that might be something that other people might feel differently about, but I think that this book could really help people who suffer from a really bad relationship. They don't know how to get themselves out. This book will sort of give you the kick to help you get out. It will give you the kick to help you get out of your house. It will be so much more than just little thing to pass the time. So due to the subject matter of this novel, it doesn't always make for light reading, but all the same, some really sort of difficult and tragic topics can be really difficult to read in long doses. This I could have read in one sitting if I wanted to, because I just had to keep knowing what was going to happen next, because you would finish a chapter and often jump into someone else's perspective, which is great because you're often wanting to get back to that perspective, but then you're thinking, but what about what's happening with Stella right now, or what's happening with Rhea right now? Like, you were constantly like, I want to know what happens next in each person's like part of their story, so it keeps you gripped to the very end. And this is especially true once the third narrative really gets going and thrown in, because that is just a roller coaster, and that really was the one that made me cry the most. I could not stop bawling, and it would always cut off at a really crucial point and then jump to one of the other women, and I'd be like, no, I need to know what's gonna happen there. I need to know. I'm ugly crying. Tell me what's gonna happen. So yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. Like, it almost feels like a mystery trying to work out how this third narrative fits into the other two women's stories and lives, if you will. It becomes really, I became really obsessed with trying to work out who this person was in terms of being linked to them, if she was even going to be, and like how it was all going to tie in together. And I had a few guesses along the way. Most of the time they were wrong. I did get one guess correct at one point, and I then dismissed it and carried on thinking other things. And at the end of the book I was like, of course that guess from ages ago was actually correct after all. But it made for just an extra dynamic in this book, because it's not meant to be a mystery, but it kind of turned into a little mystery for me. Meanwhile, there are just so many fun characters in this novel that you get to meet. There is a really fun boy who lives on the street that pretends to actually be a little bit of a brat to Rhea, but actually you can tell he just actually really genuinely cares about her in like a grandma kind of way, because his mother isn't necessarily the best at always giving him what he needs, and he gets that instead from Rhea, which is great, and in return she gets someone helping her out a little bit around the house. Then there is a hairdresser character who, while stereotypical, I feel like this isn't necessarily the best. So he plays the stereotypical gay hairdresser, which in that way makes it sound not good, but honestly he is just so lovable. Like, you just want to meet him, you want him to be your best friend. He is fantastic, and you can like feel like he's real and that you know him. And it's so easy to relate to pretty much everyone in this book in one way, shape or form, and everyone just feels so real and fleshed out. And by the time I finished it I was like, oh, all my friends, like thinking about how my friends' lives had got sorted, because during reading this they all felt like my friends. So I loved how this book can show that women can be strong, but also how sort of women can sometimes, especially like bitchy younger females, can really sort of have it in for each other. And this book shows how friendship can bring you together and make you even stronger when you are together than what you are as just a single woman. And I'd say that friendship is one of the strongest themes running through this book. Without friendship, and family even, what do you have? So yeah, I've not really got anything bad to say about this book at all, and I totally adored it with all my heart. The only thing that didn't adore it was probably my eyes when I was ugly crying at like 3 AM. But yeah, I can't recommend this book enough. It is just so heart-wrenching, one of my favourite reads of the year, and I'll be definitely checking more books out by this author. And I gave it 5 stars. So thank you so much for watching this review. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me somewhere around here if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye!